Everyone knows when the printer goes brrr, Bitcoin goes up. In fact, there was a Twitter account created in April of 2020 that tracks the value of your first stimulus check if you had invested it into Bitcoin. If we go back to April, Bitcoin was well under 10K, hovering between $6,000 and $8,000. Last look, your $1,200 stimulus check would be worth about 10 grand right now for a 750% gain. Meanwhile, if you would have left it in USD, not only would you have spent it all by now, you dirty degens, even if you had kept it, you would have lost about 10% of its purchasing power in less than a year. But here's the thing. What if you had put that money into Ethereum or Cardano? You don't even want to know. Today, I'm going to tell you, along with helping you understand why the middle of March is going to be an absolute go time for ETH and round 2 pumpage for Cardano. Let's get it. BitSwap is the hottest new way to trade tokens. Crawling all the top decentralized exchanges, BitSwap gets you the very best price and value for your trades. BitSwap is changing the game. Try it now at bitswapdex.io. Welcome to BitBoy Crypto, the largest crypto channel in all the interwebs. My name is Ben. Every day on this channel, I show you how to make money in cryptocurrency. If you like money in crypto, make sure to subscribe for your chance to win a whole Bitcoin. Details down below. Smash the like button if you like hearing about altcoins that can make you rich. In this video, we'll be discussing pending stimulus payments, moving over to crypto, and why I believe Ethereum and Cardano both are about to move hard in the middle of March. If you were unaware, the recent stimulus checks of $1,400 per individual was signed by the Senate over the weekend after already obtaining House approval. This means the current timeline looks like this. Joe Biden signs the new stimulus legislation called the American Rescue Plan on Friday. Right now, as we speak, the IRS is getting payment info prepared, meaning families and individuals will start seeing these checks, most likely early next week. By Wednesday, the majority of the money will probably have already touched bank accounts. So where do we get all this money to give people? The printing shop, of course. The U.S. Mint is busy printing $1.9 trillion needed for the payments. It's a double L for the economy, but it's a double win for Bitcoin. Because people will be putting a lot of this stimulus money into crypto. It's easy for people with disposable income to see the upside of putting money into Bitcoin. At this point, thanks to the stimulus value tracker at Bitcoin Stimulus on Twitter. But Bitcoin rising in value is also aided by the out-of-control money printing that devalues the dollar. The dollar index is on the verge of totally breaking. Now, if you were to ask me whether I would like to see Bitcoin go up drastically or the dollar get saved, I would pick the dollar getting saved. I'm an American patriot. I love my country. However, in my humble opinion, I just don't think the economy can be saved right now. The M1 money supply has already gone parabolic. Helicopter money stage, as they say. We've never seen a move to the upside close to this one. Now, when you look back at every empire in history, hyperinflation and helicopter money leads to a total devaluing of their currency and a breakdown of their economies. It's the mark of the end of empires as we know them. It's a grim picture, but thank God for those watching this channel, the Bit Squad. You guys own crypto. You have a hedge against the coming economic catastrophe, most likely coming at the end of this year or maybe next year. But the question is, what would have happened if you put your money into other assets? This chart is absolutely insane and shows the reason to invest your money. Back in April of 2020, if you had put your money in gold, you would actually have less than $1,200. I guess Peter Schiff would not be very happy to hear that. Poor Peter. So let's check out what would happen if you had put your money into the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ. If you had invested your $1,200 stimulus check into the Standard & Poor's 500 index fund that tracks the top 500 U.S. publicly traded companies, you'd have made a pretty impressive $448. If you had invested in the NASDAQ index, which tracks all securities in the U.S., you'd have made even more, $603. Not too shabby, but definitely not enough to change your life. But what about everyone's favorite stonk, Tesla? Elon Musk's company probably will see bigger gains from its gigantic Bitcoin purchase than it ever will from selling electric cars. But if you had invested your stimulus check into Tesla, it would have netted you an extra $3,428. Now we're talking some decent money. Now we get into our first of basically two flukes on the chart. If you had put your stimulus check into AMC Theater stonk, which of course you would have thought about at the beginning of the pandemic when all movie theaters were closed, you would have made $3,431, almost exactly the same as if you had put it in a Tesla. While we've been predicting crypto moon for years now on Crypto YouTube, I don't think anyone could have predicted Wall Street Bet Stonk's takeover other than the inner circle behind the whole thing. But good on you if you thought movie theater stocks were a good investment in April. Next, we have Bitcoin. Keep in mind this chart was made a few days ago, but if you had put your stimulus check in Bitcoin, which I literally told you to do, you'd have made $8,293. $1,200 could have helped you out of a jam. $8,300 essentially could really have got you sitting pretty. But we all know how much you could have made with Bitcoin. We talk about it a lot. And while sometimes it seems like Bitcoin is running away from the pack, I always tell you ETH way outperforms it, because it does. Even with it lagging behind Bitcoin lately, since last April, ETH has crushed Bitcoin. Remember that when you're thinking about switching all your ETH to BTC because you're impatient. If you had put your $1,200 stimulus check into Ethereum, you would have made $13,203. That's enough to buy a Kia or a Lambo rim, maybe. But those are some nice returns. Now, the second best investment you could have made, of course, was GameStop, because just like with movie theaters, who wouldn't have thought investing into a dying brick and mortar retail company during a pandemic where most of the country was closed would have been a great idea? No one saw this coming. It was simply a revolt against the system of big hedge funds punishing retail investors. It was nice for once to see it go the other way. Now, if you'd put your $1,200 stimulus check into GameStop or GME, you'd have made, listen to this, $43,088. But unbelievably, as fluky as the Wall Street Bet stuff was, it was not the best stimulus check investment. That would be none other than Cardano, ADA. It actually beat GME as the best investment of the last year. You'd have made $43,600 off a $1,200 investment in Cardano back in April of 2020. So the question is, what does this tell us about the future? Stimulus money is getting sent out next week, and I believe that much of that money is not only going to be flowing into Bitcoin, but Ethereum and Cardano will be likely targets, especially if this chart gets shown out there in the ethos. I think there will be two different types of crypto investors with these stimulus checks. The first investor will be someone who understands the US dollar is collapsing, and they're simply looking to hedge their money. In that case, Bitcoin's the best option. It's the safest crypto out there. The second type of crypto investor is a high speculator, someone looking to change their lives dramatically through cryptocurrency investments. Invest a small amount now and get a large amount back later. For these people, Ethereum and Cardano are their best bets, and there's no doubt about that in my mind. And also, guys, don't sleep on Polkadot. We'll be doing a Polkadot video tomorrow you don't want to miss. But I feel like DOT is a little more for the hardcore crypto investor rather than the newbie, because Americans can't get DOT on Coinbase or on Binance.us. This puts it a little out of range for most people getting stimulus checks. But let me know what you think. Do you see Ethereum and Cardano mooning once stimulus payments get sent? Or is this going to be simply round 2 for Bitcoin? Drop those comments down below. Also, if you want more ETH and Cardano content, make sure to smash that like button so we know you like it. That's all I got. Be blessed. BitBoy out.